Africa TV, Freak Up Studio, live. 2023, GSL Season 2.
Hey, I feel amazing.
I feel amazing too. It's day 3 of the GSL. Welcome back, guys, to the round of 16. We're halfway through this phase of the tournament. Today we have one of the few foreigners that's going to be competing in this GSL special, along with an amazing lineup of Korean players.
Yeah, Dark Creator, GuMiho, and SpeCial. We got a little bit of everything in this one. Going to see some mech Terrans. Going to see one of the best Zerg players in the world ever. One of the best Protoss players in Korea. It should be a very fun day.
I think the big question a lot of us are asking, though, is how exactly is Creator going to look today? This is a guy who has had a very difficult run in GSL, but he has improved. He's been very hard on himself. He's a very emotional player. And not long ago, we saw him look to be at the point where he was about to win a GSL. He was going to be on top of the world and finally achieve that goal that so many other players in the GSL had managed to achieve. But it seems like he fell off a little bit from there. So I'm most interested in seeing how he's going to play today.
I feel like the Protoss meta kind of getting solved a little bit last year really hurt Creator. He was one of those players that was pioneering some of these aggressive styles, especially Blinkstalker play, that carried Protoss to a lot of wins in maps and in sets over the previous year. But as it is right now, Protoss in the meta, it's kind of been struggling. It feels like we need another hero to step up and maybe redefine PvT, PvZ a little bit. Or maybe even just mix in some spice. It's just so hard to see players play the way they are right now with this race and try to find a way to win. I mean, I know it's possible. We see people do it in Europe, and occasionally it happens here in Korea, but it does feel like Protosses need to reinvent themselves a bit.
Yeah. By the way, guys, tickets always go on sale for both days on Monday. And come down to the studio, join us. It is a lot of fun here. Finally having audiences back. Finally having the pros here in the venue. And, what a big victory, by the way, for the whole scene that, the community convinced Africa TV to put this back in the studio, and here we are back to normal.
Yeah, this wouldn't have been possible without the support from, in particular, the foreign fans, just showing so much love to the players here. And, of course, you can continue that contribution, patreon.com/GSL or on Africa TV.
Right.
You can donate star balloons there, whether the site is online, offline, doesn't matter if the stream is going or not. You can always chip in. And, yeah, those replay packs, man. I mean, we've had some really good games. Group A, Group B both had, I feel like, at least one excellent match in every series,
We had spectacular days every day so far here, and even last season it was really incredible. I mean, it does go to show you the game does stand on its own merit. And the players, they brought some incredible strategies and plays out. So, yeah, your support is appreciated, guys. We're already at 1669. That is cool.
Yeah, man, getting there. It's halfway to the $30,000 goal. Of course, $30,000 will go directly into the prize pool. Everything after that will carry over to the next season's prize pool.
It will roll over.
Right.
So, yeah, we appreciate it, guys. Only here on day number 3. And I'm excited to just get into these games, man.
I can't wait. And Dark versus SpeCial to start things off should be so much fun, too. It's
going to be a tough one for SpeCial, no doubt. Just kind of big picture of the GSL. We've had some of the very best non-Koreans come down in the whole world and play, and they don't get as deep as we really expect them. I mean, we're on year 12, getting close to year 13 of GSL. I know that we had, Jinro and in the first few, these Huck, these players. That was really a different time, but as time passed, we had, so many great players. Scarlet, no regret. We've had SpeCial many times. Estrella, Rainer. I mean, so many good players come down here, and they don't really get very deep. So I have my fingers crossed this season is going to be a different one. SpeCial and Estrella, certainly 2 players who could do that.
Yeah, and absolutely. We got 2 chances here this time, right? Group C and Group D, a Terran and a Protoss. And SpeCial in this group does seem to be an underdog. GuMiho coming off a fantastic performance at ESL Summer. Dark, one of the best Zerg players in the world. And Creator, trying to regain his form here in Korea, become one of the top Protosses yet again. He has been struggling since that second place GSL finish.
Yeah, if I had to pick 2 to get out, I think Dark is an easy selection. I'll be shocked if he doesn't move on. And then with the other player, I'm expecting GuMiho to probably just eke out ahead here. Now, Creator could surprise us, and SpeCial, you never want to count him out. But, you know, I've been casting SpeCial and GSLs for so many years now, and he seems to be very consistent, which, if we're in the round of 16, is not a good sign, right?
Yeah, Dark and GuMiho also my picks to advance in this group, but no SpeCial. Maybe he's cooked up something good for us here. Wouldn't be surprised. This is a guy that comes in, it feels like every GSL, every ESL event, he comes up with new builds, creative play. I know when I used to ladder a bunch, he was my least favorite person to hit on the ladder because he wasn't a barcode. He was always SpeCial or a major as he was back then.
Yeah.
I always knew I was going to get mech'd somehow. Like they're going to be like cyclones in my base at some point. It was just a nightmare. And that kind of preparation can be very bountiful here in a GSL. You know, if you have a bunch of diversity in your play, if you can show a wide range, switch from bio into mech, maybe mix in some cheese. Maybe he can advance.
Yeah, SpeCial here. Obviously, you know, someone who loves being in Korea and training in Korea with the Korean pros. At this point in time, almost has more of a Korean style than really a European style or a North American style. Although, obviously, he's originally from Mexico. But, you know, this guy has been in and out of Korea his whole life, even back at the early StarCraft 1 days, and has, you know, very much valued the Korean history, the Korean training regimen. And so here he is again trying to win the Korean tournament.
He's a hard worker. Looks like the set's coming in. Royal Blood, Gresvin, and Neo Humanity will be the maps we play this best of 3 on. In a qualifier rematch, Dark actually eliminated SpeCial from one of the qualifiers, knocked him to the lower bracket. We'll see if SpeCial can mount his revenge here in the Code S.
DKZ Gaming, Dark. Storm Gaming, SpeCial.
SpeCial looking focused. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, Depot and Barracks on low ground.
Maybe Bjorn was right all along.
Yeah, I was about to say, is this a page out of the Bjorn playbook? One thing with SpeCial that's always been true, and SpeCial was one of the guys that did start out in StarCraft 1. He was like competing in tournaments at I think like 13, like really young, and obviously good at games even before that. He's always had an encyclopedic knowledge of all Terran build orders. I've casted so many of his games here in Korea, overseas, and like, it's kind of crazy how many different builds he does have available. Now, that being said, he doesn't, he's not been a tournament champion as near as other players, I would say, that also seem to have that range, like Maro or TY. But yeah, I thought maybe this was going to be double racks at the entrance, like Bjorn did, and that it was going to be another moment where SpeCial has yet another build he's mapped out. But instead, it's not the case.
No, instead it's a double gas opening, so we're going to have a factory getting thrown down here, Tasteless. Very early, very late expand.
Yeah, and the factory, by the way, not really hidden. I mean, you could see right over that depot and see where the factory is, so there's not, you know, and necessarily an element of deception if the Zerg were to come up there and look into the natural.
Right, Zerglings could even walk up to that wall and scout it behind the wall, and so we'll see exactly what SpeCial has cooked up for us as the command center will be thrown down here. As he be coming into the natural expansion. Non-stop Reaper production for SpeCial. No add-ons on that barracks just yet, so maybe just some Heli and Reaper harassment very early. Going to be in the cards. And oh, he actually gets a drone. Nice pick there.
Yeah.
The grenade was very well placed. I'm actually surprised that Dark kind of blundered that a little bit. Usually you don't see this Reaper get that much damage done, but one drone feels kind of meaningful here in the early game, right?
Yeah, I mean, we don't oftentimes see a drone ever go down, so it's always a little bit of a victory there. The second Reaper's going to merge up with the first. The third hatchery is coming down. And we do now, excuse me, we do now have a command center that's being made here. So a little bit of pressure onto the Zerg early on, but not committed to doing necessarily a ton of damage.
Yeah, and we're Man, powering out really fast here is SpeCial. All these buildings on the low ground as well, as now a Hellion enters the fray. No speed and production for Dark just yet. Now, third of the way done now, and all these Lings already eliminated, so some drones are going to fall, Tasteless. A lot of economic damage coming out early here, as eventually these units will get cleaned up by the 3 Queens. Only 1 Reaper surviving, but killing all of the Lings. 3 drones as well, some nice picks there, and now with all the different add-ons that SpeCial has back at home, you have to wonder how exactly he's going to use this, and it's going to be a Cyclone coming out.
Yeah, this is interesting. You know, the expansion's late, but you're getting a lot of tools at your disposal really early on. And the fact that SpeCial has already clipped off a couple workers, a couple Zerglings here or there, normally that's, you know, unremarkable because nothing's going to happen. But we're going to have a much earlier follow-up here with this, and that's going to be the Cyclone and the 4 Marines coming in here with a medevac. So I'm really curious how much damage this can do, because it looks like he's actually going to have even more opportunities to create with this.
That's a very interesting building setup. I mean, I usually don't see Cyclones dropped with Marines in this matchup, and behind it, SpeCial throwing down a 3rd command center. So, you know, he slows down his natural expansion, but he gets a lot of tempo. In exchange for that, he trades that tempo for killing drones, for killing Lings, for doing damage to his opponent, and now he has this little hit squad that is going to try and find some damage. With the Cyclone in the mix, he can actually start to pick off some of these Queens.
Yeah, already a pretty good start here. It doesn't seem like there's going to be enough material in the hands of the Terran to ever force anything. He can basically land, but he's always going to get brushed away with the remaining Queens. Now the Raven's going to come out. This is a very cool build from SpeCial. He's getting his 3rd command center, and Stim has finally started. But he's really keeping Dark on his toes.
Yeah, the worker count for Dark has been very low during all of this because, you know, SpeCial's opening, not only was it aggressive, but it's very hard to read as well exactly what he is gunning for here. And so Dark right now only sitting at a 6 worker lead. Not really what you want here against Terran this early on in the game. You would love to have, you know, double-digit lead if you can, as we see a lot more drones finish up.
So he is going to be actually targeting the Queen. Seems like certainly not the play there. Does not end up killing a drone. So no value at all out of the energy used for the auto turret. But yeah, it's kind of a different approach here as far as development goes from SpeCial. I kind of thought before I saw the 3rd command center that maybe he was going to lean into a lot of barracks later on and use the few swipes he's already taken at. Oh my God,
that's close.
Yeah, the few swipes he's already taken at the Zerg to maybe create something a little bit more damaging. But instead, he's going to keep harassing like he is with his drop here and have a much bigger push later on.
Nice hit there, gets a lot of Lings, some drones as well. 5 more going down. So Dark, he finally got a sizable enough worker lead to be happy with, and SpeCial just whittles him back down to the low 50s. And if that 2nd Raven was able to join up with its buddy behind the main base there of Dark, you know, I could see a lot more harassment potential coming out of SpeCial. You could tell he was gunning for that, as this Raven instead is going to have to come all the way back home and get repaired. And behind all of this, you know, the building setup here for SpeCial is looking really good. I think he might be on something like 5 barracks very soon, with 2 more finishing up. Already double engineering bay, 3rd command center is planted down. The worker lead is still less than 10 in the favor of Dark. Upgrade advantage right now, heading towards SpeCial. So everything's looking really good for Terran, and behind it, Dark, he is going to throw down, I think, a macro hatch and a 4th base at the triangle 3rd.
We're kind of getting to that point where, you know, we're going to see, can the Terran really make something happen with the Zerg in that 4th base development, or is Zerg going to be able to propel themselves into late game here? But, you know, I got to say, this is as good of a game as you could imagine coming from SpeCial against, of all players in the world, Dark. And Dark is known for being extremely hard to ever overpower with a push. I mean, he basically doesn't die to pushes, to be totally frank. And so this is going to be a very interesting mid-game, because I think SpeCial has a lot more opportunities that have been created compared to any other Terran we would see normally in a GSL, because of the unusualness of the opening. And the fact that, for the most part, all the little harasses he's done have done a little bit of damage.
Yeah, he's found a lot of drone kills. Even now, it's 68 drones to 66 SCVs with SpeCial on pre-orbital command. So his economy actually a little bit better than Dark's at this point. And now that he's powering up on, I think, 7 barracks, you got to think that he's going to start to push across the map and try and find some damage. But Dark, you know, he likes those low drone counts, and he likes to be aggressive himself, getting centrifugal hooks. He's getting burrow as well. as these Bailings are going to try and find some damage. But this leaves an opening here at the 4th base of Dark.
Okay, here we go.
Oh no, he doesn't notice it. He's focused on microing this army here in the front, so Siege Tank does get cleaned up. Marines hiding back. He is able to focus down those Bailings.
This is pretty big, man. And the auto turrets are really nice. They're actually getting a lot of value. They're going to allow the Terran to kind of dive in once again under the cover of that. Now there's 12 SCVs that were killed earlier. The question is SpeCial able to overpower him here? The Banes are going to finish. There's no tank in the back. This is a very interesting back and forth. Are there any more tanks with the push?
I think there might be one. There's at least one in production right now, but this is almost pure Marine that's levying pressure here for SpeCial on this 4th base. And right now there are more Marines, or at least for a moment, there were more Marines than Zerglings on the map. But considering the upgrades that SpeCial has, you got to think this is a really comfortable spot for him. It looks like he's just focusing on leaving the Siege Tanks back at home to deal with the counterattacks that Dark is so keen on doing all of the time. So Adrenal Glands now coming in. About a third of the way done. Very fast hive here for Dark, and now we're ferrying some Marines into the main base. That's a lot of overlords that could go down, and at 122 of 144, Dark's gonna get supply blocked if SpeCial's able to kill those.
Yeah, oh my god, these Banes. They're gonna be used on the tank. Okay, hold on a second. This is a kind of wild situation. It seems like SpeCial's actually doing it.
Yeah, I think his momentum is just too high right now.
Yeah, Dark has actually fought off like each little position. But Dark is really small right now. The supply right now in Army, it's basically double for SpeCial, which means he could probably regroup and actually create that killing blow. This is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, this is just him riding the momentum that he set up in the early game, right? With that harassment, the really fast 3rd Command Center powering up to 7 barracks. As there's 60 Marines now on the field, which is absurd. I mean, 107 Army supply to 48, more than doubling the Zerg. And Dark, he's struggling to find a 4th base. It's still him on 3 bases.
Oh, there's Burrowed Banes. This is actually so smart. This could allow...
Oh, he missed it.
He whiffed it.
No.
Oh, my God.
Just got some latency there, I think.
It was like over the backboard of the basketball hoop, man. That was too bad. Yeah, that looked like it was... That was such a whiff.
It's like an axolotl trying to catch some food in an aquarium, man. It's like the 2-second reaction time. But I think SpeCial might have this game. We see Dark, he's trying to go for a counterattack, but SpeCial, he's almost maxed to the 120 supply of Dark. Another hatchery goes down. That's the 2nd hatch that Dark has tried to establish at a 4th base that has just been completely denied here, as SpeCial kind of running a clinic on how to play TVZ right now. Very creative opening, really fast tempo. I loved how quickly he teched up and then just powering up. I mean, firing on all cylinders, fast 3rd Command Center, up to 5 barracks, double engineering bay, throwing down 2 more barracks, and then non-stop parade pushing like this. Dark never able to get a 4th base up, and you see him almost desperately trying to make something happen with a counterattack to buy himself some space, some time on his side of the map, but this hatchery's going to go down. The hive's going to go down as well if he's not careful.
Unbelievable. I did not expect our first game today was going to be SpeCial actually overpowering Dark, not just beating Dark, but basically pushing, killing, crushing the Zerg that never dies like that.
Wow, what a great play there from SpeCial. That was sick, man.
That was wild, and the build was very, very different. It had a kind of unusual tempo to it.
Yeah, you don't really see double gas with barracks on the low ground like that.
And the factory on the low ground.
Yeah, the factory, he got damage done not only with the first Reaper, but then he comes in, I think it was either 2 or 3 Reapers and a Hellion, able to get more drones, the natural expansion.
It wasn't a greedy opener either, and it wasn't a crazy aggressive opener either. It was like he sets it up to look like he's going to expand, but instead he has a pretty, you know, a not average amount of aggression, a little bit more than normal, a little bit quicker. He is getting, with each attack, a little bit of a lead. And then, you know, he doesn't go for a 2-base push. He goes for a 3-base push. It just keeps having sequence of attack after sequence of attack. And eventually, Dark is just squishy enough. He falls down.
2023 GSL Season 2.
I don't know about that metaphor. Squishy enough, he falls down. I take one back.
He was very squishy.
Squishy enough, eventually he breaks.
DKZ Gaming, Dark. Storm Gaming, Special.
I feel like squishy is an apt word to describe how Dark played that last game, though. Maybe the analogy is like
well, I think
special.
His like position became very squishy. I mean, he was able to break in.
Pool first.
Oh my gosh. Okay, pool first. Hold up. And I think we have, at least it looks like it's going to be the same build. We'll see if we get another barracks or what's going to happen. But Dark likes to go for a cheese a lot of times in a best of 3 or best of 5. Almost always. I've said this in previous casts too. I mean, I know people get tired of hearing me say it, but it's still true. It happens. And it's kind of wild to see him do it. Quick pool. I don't know if this is going to be cheesy or not, but, you know, he's trying to develop faster than he is to expand. Right away.
Yeah, and a different build from Special as well. Just one gas up here, so it's not going to be that super fast tempo of teching that we had in the previous game. Is, you know, it really did feel like Special was, like, if Dark was dough, Special just, like, kept kneading him into, like, the perfect pizza. It was so flat by the end of it. It was so spread thin. It's one of those nice Italian crust pizzas.
You could spread the cheese on him now.
You know, all these little toppings. Got, like, some Ravens in there, some Hellions, some Reapers. A Cyclone even, and a Medevac. I mean, how often do you see that in a TVZ, right?
Yeah, very rarely. The reason why you don't, too, is that you get all your infantry out later if you do that.
It felt like Special came in with 4 or 5 different sets of harassment tools over the course of that game, and every single one, except for maybe the Ravens, was able to find some good damage. Though the Ravens, they didn't really get too much done, but, you know, okay, you don't get drone kills, but later in the game, you're going to have max energy, and it helped when he pushed that 4th base, right?
Yeah.
All those auto turrets on the low ground supporting the Marines, making up for a little bit of the lack of siege tanks that Special had, and it was really good to see. Really fun build from Special in game number 1, and mixing it up again here in game 2 with this faster expansion. Dark, although he went for the pool first, not super aggressive with it just yet. 6 lings in total, factory here on the wall, and yeah, more drones in production. So this is more Dark just playing safe.
Yeah, I guess he. I had a bad read on that, actually. I thought he was going to be.
It's hard to tell when the pool gets thrown down before hatchery what exactly it's going to be, right?
He might have suspected that, you know, if these guys play 100 games, Special does not win that many of them with a push like that, and so that maybe he's trying to preempt the fact that Special might want to just do a proxy racks. One of the more common things to see in a TVZ, if the Zerg is generally considered to be way better, is that if the Terran does win in the first game, a cheese is so likely in the second game. That's because that's one of the few rushes that even to this day still will work against some of the best Zergs out there.
That's how I always console myself when I lose a best of 3 to somebody, when like the deciding game was a cheese. It's like, yeah, he was scared of me.
Yeah, he knew he couldn't take it.
I'm getting flashbacks of playing Flash at IEM New York. I got it to 1-1, and then he just proxy factoried me, and I died instantly. I'm like, yeah, you were scared of the macro game, man.
You knew you were going down. That's fine. I get it. I actually respect it. By the way, quick third CC here. So this game is so different than what we have right now.
Yeah, Special's really leaning into the macro as opposed to the harassment in this one. I think it's just the lone Reaper on the map. 2 Hellions are in production, so eventually he will have some buddies. Maybe around that time that 3rd hatchery is finishing, he should have an opportunity to potentially get something done. But Cloak Banshee. Oh, is it going to be Cloak Banshee? There is a Banshee in production, so a little bit lighter on the harassment is Special, just really focusing on powering up back at home. And you know, maybe that game 1 is a little bit of a confidence booster for him, because he really just did feel like he was out macroing Dark. And a lot of that does go back to, you know, how much momentum he got from the harassment in the early game. But
yeah. And the
macro was so good.
It was really good, and all the harasses came at kind of weird times. You know, the Zerg has to know, it's like driving a stick, right? Like, you have to know, like, when you're actually, like, what speed the game's going to be in. Like, when are you making drones, when are you not? And all those attacks kind of came at the weird moments when you think you're cruising, but you're not.
I like that analogy, like driving stick. I've never heard that to describe droning. Droning versus making units.
Well, you're making them, then you're stopping, you're making a bunch of other stuff, then you make a bunch of drones. So
4th command center underway?
No, he did not.
No, that's a 4th CC. So it's 4th command center before we're adding any additional barracks here for Special. So he's just playing the map control game.
Okay, I almost feel like this can't even be a build.
Like throws down another command
like
center.
Like 5th CC. Well, hold on. I see what this is. There it is, the 6th.
It's just going to turn
crazy.
2 of them into planetary fortresses.
That can't be it. Yeah.
Super saturate the bases, man. This is a cool build. Special, he really does cook up something special anytime he plays in a series like this one. You can tell that he has a lot of thought that came into this series, a lot of preparation. And not afraid to shy away from showing his builds too. You know, there's another Terran and a Protoss in this group should he finish this series against Dark. So he doesn't really need to hide anything. All of his TVZ tricks, he can just bring all of them out right now here in the round of 16. And what a cool one. Fast 4th CC. The scary thing is he's doing this against Dark, who loves timing attacks, who loves being aggressive, who loves just killing nerds.
Yeah. I mean, this is wild. And I mean, 3CC is absolutely, it's common at this point in time. There was a period where we were like, wow, is that really possible? But 4CC is on another level. How soon do you land a 4th CC? How soon can you land a 4th CC, right? I mean, the problem is most of the time, you know, the danger with a 3rd CC, especially when people are still labbing these builds out, is like, okay, well, do you have enough to mine from 3 bases and not just have them run in there and kill you? But, you know, with that point being made, Dark has just been macroing. So, yeah. Like, you know, we're at the point where, you know, I don't think Zerg can really do anything if they wanted to. I mean, let's say that he had gone for like a Nidus network as the 4th CC started. Yeah, then I mean, maybe you just killed him, right? But that didn't happen.
Yeah, if there was some big bust that was coming from Dark, I think it would have been an opportunity here for SpeCial. But, you know, maybe SpeCial just with the 6th sense after winning game 1 is like, okay, Dark, probably not going to gamble with the cheese here in game 2, or at least not a mid-game cheese. So if I can, you know, navigate the early game safely and Dark doesn't do anything too crazy, then maybe I can get away with some greed. Because usually from Dark, if we see him in a Best of X series come out with some kind of crazy all-in, nice catch, by the way.
Yeah.
It's going to come early in the game, right?
You know, these little catches, though, I mean, that, you know, I don't know why I can't talk. It's crazy to get those, the queen kill and the lane kills and not lose anything. Mm-hmm. That is a little victory that can add up. And TVZ, when you win, a lot of times it is death to the Zerg by 1,000 cuts, right?
It does feel that way. It feels like Terran just keeps almost losing trades until they have too much.
Yeah, and then eventually you go, oh, wait a minute, Zerg just doesn't quite have enough. Another good pickup, doesn't really sacrifice too many Marines. He relocates, and he could probably kill off a few more Lings here before he has to pick up again.
Yeah, just conservative here. Whips those up nice and early. And wow, he already plants it on the 4th base. So
I don't think Zerg even knows about the 4th base, by the way.
No.
So there's issues here for Dark in that it's possible, and we'll never know, right? But there are assumptions that could be made here about where Terran is at. Terran, by the way, is actually surpassing Zerg in supply, which is unusual.
Yeah, and Dark is in trouble a little bit right now. Centrifugal Hooks is only about halfway done, maybe 2/3 of the way done right now. And also these Banelings are not going to be able to morph it. Oh, there's Hellbats guarding the siege tanks. This is a fantastic angle here for SpeCial. Almost no Banelings to be found. They're all Slowlings trying to come in, and although Dark will be able to clean this up, I mean, that was a relatively cost-efficient trade here for SpeCial, who's now powering on 4 bases, retains his supply lead, and he's confident enough to keep moving.
We just missed the Burrow of Banes. Okay, it looks like we caught it on camera right after that. That was really important.
I even missed those Burrow Banes, man. I was hyping SpeCial up too much.
Well, I mean, this is a crazy game, right? Zerg has not even confirmed the 4th base, again, because Zerg probably assumes a 4th base. Maybe the command center has started now in the main or somewhere like that. So that Baneling explosion, that was pretty big. It was a nice trade out. That's going to allow Dark to get back on his feet, but SpeCial's growth is still there. I mean, he's still neck and neck with the Zerg here.
Yeah, but his economy actually is better right now. You know, up in workers, also 4 orbital commands to just the hatcheries here of Dark. And, you know, Dark, this is getting to the point in the game where he likes to be really active on the map. He's getting his Hive Tech 2/2 about to be done. +2 melee weapons will finish before +2 armor here for the Zerg player. And SpeCial, you know, I'm liking this still. He has that 4th base as of yet unscouted. I think now that sensor tower is down on the map, Dark absolutely knows there is a 4th base, but he doesn't know when that was thrown down. He doesn't know SpeCial's economy is as powerful as it is right now, because at 77 workers, SpeCial's basically at a full 4 base saturation.
Yeah, he doesn't need more workers. And, you know, Zerg's not done with developing here. Zerg's still, you know, on the defending side of things. We've got a lot of Lings coming through. But, you know, this isn't quite the number of Lings that you need to kind of get anything done. Meanwhile, the push is going to continue on. He's got the Marauders down here in the front. Really good kiting from SpeCial.
Yeah, plus all those earlier attacks just kind of stymieing this creep spread next to that triangle third base means that SpeCial can do a lot of micro-off creep against these speed banelings and still get good trades. He does lose 20 workers here. The Lings in the main base actually getting a ton done.
Yeah, and the Burrows, and it's really smart because there's a chance SpeCial just doesn't have his screen over that area and may assume that those units have been killed off.
Yeah, very likely, in fact.
Ooh!
Nice hit.
Yeah.
A lot of Widow Mines now on the field, so that's going to be the main AoE damage. Oh, SpeCial did
so
catch
on top of it, yeah. Because, you know, what can happen is if those aren't killed, they can unburrow and turn into banelings and just blow up all your workers.
Oh, actually, I might be outing myself here. I actually don't know if burrowed units show up on sensor towers or not. I wonder if that's how he knew, or if he is really just on top of it. I'm sure. Like, I'm a Protoss player at heart, so I don't know this incredibly niche thing that you only know from the Terran's point of view when you're playing the game, right?
Can happen, man. Well, he's going to push down here now. He's maxed out. And so he's going to come and wrap around. It looks like he still wants to get this base. That's the, as you would call it, state the triangle third. Mm-hmm. But like this is kind of scary.
It's a lot of links for Dark, but there isn't much more than that.
Yeah.
It's just a handful of banelings. I mean, 16 in total. This fight's happening off Creedus. Could be some nice Widow Mine connections there. I'm actually surprised SpeCial isn't just burrowing and stimming away. All right, let's see how these Widow Mines do.
I feel like this should have gone way better for SpeCial, but he didn't have all of his stuff together.
Yeah, it was a little bit split.
It was literally like, yeah, like a parade of moving across the map. Like there was just nothing quite, you know, here to kind of, you want your stuff chunked together and then nicely spread out. Oh my God, he's going into the main.
Yeah, 4 full medevacs coming in. Try and find some damage, but you know, 108 Adrenal Lings right now can actually start to trade quite well with small groups of bio like this. It's only really when the bio is a big enough ball that the Lings can't find the surface area, the bio's gonna, you know, be able to handle it effectively. So this is a bit of a difficult situation here for SpeCial. I feel like at this point, any window that he might have had to kill Dark in the short term is closing, if not closed already, and he might need to play more of a Maru-esque late game if he wants to come back in this one, because
yeah,
SpeCial now, Dark, excuse me, is on so many bases. He's not maxed just yet, but his economy, it's very good. He will reach max eventually. His ling count extremely high. He's getting, I mean, this must be like 120, 150 lings that are going to be on the map very soon. He's got Vipers out. Fungal is going to be on the field too. +3 melee weapons also soon to be completed here. And so for SpeCial to actually find damage, especially with these small groups of units like this one, I don't really think it's going to be in the cards. So the sooner that SpeCial can identify that he needs to start pivoting towards something more of a ghost composition and just play that late game, I think the better for him. But we'll see. Maybe he can make something happen. And only 3 medevacs as well, and 2 of them are going to go down here. It does feel like these pushes and these drops are going to run out of steam very quickly.
Yeah, and what you were saying earlier, the fact that, like, you know, it seems like we're kind of past the point where SpeCial had an edge and he basically have to play like Mara from here on out, I think that's 100% right. Doesn't mean that he can't win, but this is kind of Dark's game. This is what he does. He's very, very good. He's very clean in these kinds of games and basically playing them out. And he's going to just keep pushing forward here.
143 lings on the field, 40 more in production. Ultralisk Cavern. And Fester's also going to be on the field very soon as well.
And Dark really likes to get these Ultra Caverns out here. And, you know, he uses a lot of times to just kind of sustain in his fights, especially when the Terran finally gets to their turn to push out. Bit of huge trades over here on both sides. We're going to have to wait a little bit before they can max out. But important to note that SpeCial is really spending all of his money right now. There's quite a big bank. Well, there was a second ago. It's now down to 0 here with Dark, so I would assume he's probably started those Ultralisks.
All these changelings just chasing the army.
I know. You know, it's funny. You can see that SpeCial does not want to waste APM on that, and so Dark's just like right-clicking them on top of the units and making them run with him, so he can basically just see what's happening. It's a funny quirk about SpeCial's play. I don't know if all his games are like that, but normally you just see them gun down all the units there. SpeCial seems to just ignore it.
It was also just so many changelings as well. Usually it's just like a couple, and you're just like, okay, I'll click on these 2, but it was like 12 of them. Well, to be a Marine on the ground and get the uncanny valley of like, guys, you guys don't see these. These are not real people. Why aren't we killing them? Give me the order, please, Captain.
Here comes the drop right over here. And I don't see a whole lot to defend, so we're going to see a lot of these workers probably fall here.
I mean, these are nice drops for SpeCial, especially that Widowmine picking up 9 more drone kills, but Dark can easily replenish. And as far as unit composition, is this insane fungal comes in. Also with the ultras. I mean, SpeCial, he hasn't really added any nuance to his composition, and what feels like the last 5 minutes has just been, Marine, Marauder, Medevac, Widowmine. And I think at this stage in the game, that's when you need to start adding in Ghost. You need to start getting some siege tanks, because otherwise it is so difficult for you to actually be able to make something happen. But he's just committed to stick to this lower tech composition, and maybe he will be able to find something, but I'm getting increasingly concerned, especially as the infestor count is inevitably going to grow. I mean, Dark is just consuming the map right now.
It's wild, too. I mean, I think SpeCial really had a couple moments early on where he could have done this, but this is really the game that Dark always wants to play. And he's so good at outlasting his opponent. And Terran really, for as long as this game has gone on, doesn't have a lot of expansions that are very easy to just take.
It's going to be difficult for him. Absolutely, and you can even tell like the mineral gas bank is almost never going to fill up here. There are 3 Vipers on the field. It's still just the 1 Infester. But Dark is so good with those, as we've seen in countless GSL Code S's, finding the mighty fungal on big groups of bio. And when you have an army that looks like this, for SpeCial, if you're clumped up like that, I mean, one bad trade could be just game-ending. Should it go Dark's way? And Nidus also being thrown into the mix.
Yeah, well, he'll probably use this to put a Nidus worm inside the Terran's main. And then it's going to be, he might even make 2 or 3 even. We've seen that before as well. And then he'll just use that to generate pressure there while he can hit the bottom bases as well. Now, there's a pretty ambitious expansion that's been taken here just shy of 6 o'clock positionally on the map. SpeCial kind of expanding to the most outward base in the bottom, because if he has that under control, he can expand behind that to the bottom left of the map.
Another engagement here. The 12 o'clock position as these Marauders get trade out. Those Marines with no medevac support gonna have to retreat back home, but it's a lot of Lings on the minimap flooding into the triangle third base here of SpeCial, as we might have a little bit of a base trade. I don't expect this one to go really the distance, but yeah, okay, SpeCial is gonna back off. I thought for a moment he might try to snipe perhaps some tech and, the Hive or maybe some critical tech structures there, but he just decides he needs to come back home and deal with this, because the Cracklings absolutely shred buildings. I'm quite sure they even have building armor even too, looking at this. It's just like it doesn't matter that much.
Looks like he's going to be able to bust open this position here as well. A lot of workers are going down. That actually could be close to game, by the way, with it between the supply plummet and the worker drop here.
I think it has to be.
I think the Dark, I thought this was going to be a game that would probably go on for like 25, 30 minutes, but it seems like Dark might just be at the tipping point here.
I mean, there really just isn't a lot of, there aren't a lot of tools that, wow.
Oh my God.
Dark's got some of the best fungals in the business, I gotta say.
His fungals take up more surface area. That's what that looked like.
It does feel that way.
Yeah.
He's like a co-op commander that just gets all these special augments to his Zerg units, man.
They're
like,
bigger and greener.
His Zerglings also do more damage somehow. Crackling does like extra 50% instead of whatever it is they do already. I mean, just absurd game here from Dark. I mean, he was really firing in all cylinders. And I love the opening we had there from SpeCial. I mean, the super fast 4th base. I felt like there was a window where he really could get a lot done. But just, it's very difficult to play Marine Marauder, Medevac, Widowmine, especially Widowmine instead of Siege Tank, and try to play that extreme map control game against someone as good as Dark. And I mean, SpeCial, you could see in that game, it took Dark forever to really break through, because SpeCial's macro is so good, because he does have great game sense. His multitasking is fantastic.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Dark's tech tree, it was more filled out. He had the more nuanced army, and he was able to ride that to a victory.
2023 GSL Season 2. DKZ Gaming, Dark. Storm Gaming, SpeCial.
All right. Well, again, we have the barracks thrown down here at the entrance to the second base. I'm very interested in what kind of game we're going to have, because SpeCial's done two very different builds, and like I said, at the very start of the best of three, he always has a really big range of builds. He really has a very deep toolkit, and can kind of reach into that toolkit and pick out whichever tool he needs, which is going to be the build order against whatever pro he's against. But even I haven't seen him use these two styles. Four command centers, which, by the way, that worked. He actually had a lead. Dark just did a very good job with Baneling mines planted on the map, and some pretty good surprise angles. And I think SpeCial kind of dropped the ball when he had his biggest push coming out. Things weren't together enough. They really were kind of in this long string moving across the map, which didn't let him take the fight that easily. But I want to see what SpeCial does this time here. If this is going to be a build that's a little bit more standard, a little bit more orthodox, or does he have yet another crazy idea at work here?
Yeah, it looks like the build from game number 1 with the double gas, factory on the low ground.
Yeah.
So going back to what worked for him in the first match of this series, and Dark, I gotta say, he's the one mixing it up this time. Gasless, third hatchery.
Yeah.
Not really a Dark opening,
No.
I gotta say.
No, it's funny, too. I wonder how this build from Dark copes with the early pressure. I'm sorry, did the factory start? Yeah, it did. I thought for a second it hadn't started. I was crazy. So, yeah, I mean, how exactly does this build where you get your gas a little bit later? How does it deal with some of the pressure that can come here?
Oof.
He's going to get away, too.
Yeah, Dark was so close to getting the surround on that Reaper. He's brave.
Yeah.
He knows that timing on that Queen, too.
Where's that drone?
But yeah, I'm curious to see how Dark's 3-hatch play lines up against this build from SpeCial. Once again, he's going for the 3 Reapers. Hellions are already in production. Starport also underway. Later Command Center actually proxying the Starport this time even. So this is an even more aggressive variant of the high tempo harassment focused play that we saw from SpeCial in game number 1. This is like kicking that up a notch.
Yeah, it's a very accented version of that. This is like very cool to see. Because, yeah, things are going to start up even a little bit quicker. And it already was a kind of weird build. Does he have confirmation of the hatchery at the bottom center?
I don't
think he actually went down there.
Does? He might have glimpsed the creep spread with a Reaper in the natural expansion is what I'm wondering. Because it does spread a little bit faster from those hatcheries now, right?
Yeah.
What was that in production from the... oh, it's a Liberator.
It's a Liberator.
Okay. He makes like a Viking. Just like kills an Overlord. It's like the worst build of all time.
I'm like, wow, that Viking got there like, 6 seconds faster than it would have otherwise.
Liberator is going to be a nice addition with this one.
Fortunately for Dark, he has Queens. He can just shoot that Viking down as he would have anyways. So
he lands it and fights it with the Hellions and with the
that's
Reapers.
Right.
Yeah, so Dark has paved the way by mining these gold minerals into this third base, so defense there will be considerably easier. And I guess this is what he was gunning for all along here with this fast third hatch. And a build going for double gas now at like the 410 minute mark. It kind of reminds me of the Ice Fisher build. I don't know if you remember this. I don't think it was ever really popular in Korea.
Oh, what is
the
this?
Ice Fisher spin Yishua way back. I think it was like Wings of Liberty or Heart of the Swarm came up with something that got incredibly popular called the Ice Fisher, where he would go 3-hatch, no gas, just like this, and just play extremely queen heavy. And this was way before queens were the meta.
Yeah,
he was ahead of the curve on this. Now everybody makes like 9 queens every TVZ.
Yeah.
But I just reminiscent of that a little bit. I'm getting kind of nostalgic here, especially seeing this from Dark.
Build name here too.
Yeah, it's a very funny build name.
Yeah.
I don't know why he decided to call it the Ice Fisher, but any OGs that are watching GSL probably.
I mean, ice fishing is literally where you cut a circular hole in the ice, right? And
I've done it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've gone ice fishing.
Yeah. That's so funny. Well, I mean, the Liberators are still doing some damage here and there.
Big dive coming in from SpeCial. Nice ramp block here from Dark. Feels like a Brood War game with just a couple of units just completely stymieing SpeCial's pathing in the main base, but eventually he is able to work his way in. A lot of Reapers, or not Reapers, excuse me, drones going down here, 8 in total. But Dark, you know, behind this, although he has lost a lot of drones, keep in mind, this was a very macro-focused opening from him. So despite being 9 drones down now, he's still up 10 workers overall, now 53 workers to 39.
He got a lot of queens back there. I don't know the exact amount, but I think it was 3 or 4 were killed.
Yeah, Liberators absolutely shred like anything on the ground, really, in the straight-up fight.
Yeah, you can see the queens felt like they had to commit into that area. He's going to get a few more drones in the meanwhile.
Yeah, but this isn't really the momentum game that it feels like it was in game number 1, just because Dark is playing a much more macro-oriented style here.
Well, we're going to get the real test here from SpeCial now because he's getting stim, he's getting those Marines and tanks. Everything before Marines and tanks is intended to, like, trip up the Zerg, kill workers when you can. Look at this.
These Roaches actually getting some damage done over on this side of the map. An add-on. Liberator sieging up might protect it.
You know how painful it is to watch slow Marines try to stutter step into Roaches?
It's like some of the slowest units in the game. It's like a slowling joins the fray too.
And then we just have a queen off creep slowly right into the fight. I'm like, ugh.
It's like a zealot somehow warps in from like creator's side on the stage.
Just all the awful slow units just moving around.
Yeah, I think Dark would have loved to get that reactor, but instead decided he had to trade out with those Marines. You know, at the end of the day, you know, the harassment now, we're kind of in a lull here as SpeCial is setting up this third base. I feel like the harassment, although he did get a lot of drones, you know, it is still not the momentum that he got in game number 1. I think the biggest advantage perhaps here for SpeCial is that the creep spread for Dark in this game is absolutely abysmal.
Right.
The natural basically just connects to the third because it connects to the third on the map, right? We have the first couple of tumors outside of both the natural expansion and the third base basically getting set up now. And also the queen count, as you commented, a lot of them got taken out, I think 4 in total.
Yeah.
So that Liberator there in the main base with the Hellions and with the Reapers, so there's not as much queen energy here on the field for Dark, just 6 queens in total, which, you know, is a little bit on the low side for a ZBT. And, you know, maybe SpeCial, if he's able to get something done here in the next couple of minutes, can just push the creep spread back to the point where Dark really is going to be struggling for map control, but going for a Roach Ravager style, it's tough to fight against this without good upgrades.
This is really a fighting Zerg style here. He wants to come in and basically go toe-to-toe with whatever the Terran's going to have, and that makes it a lot tougher to kind of set up positions and do that, you know, maneuvering where you're, you know, trying to pull their banelings into your tanks or shave off units by shelling the queens and the lings. Instead, you're just like with Roach Ravager, you're going to look for them to try to be on the move on the map and then take that fight as they stim, as they siege up.
And I wonder what the adjustments SpeCial's going to make to his unit compositions will be here, going up against Roach Ravager as opposed to what has been a mostly Lingbane composition from Dark this series. And now with these Stim Marines, I think +1 is done here for Terran, so he's actually able to trade quite well with these Carapace not yet completed.
Yeah, not bad.
And SpeCial's equalized in worker counts. I think he does have that 4th orbital also right now sitting between the natural and the third base. Or at least it will be completed very soon.
It's kind of funny, you know, this was going to be used to make the Liberators to try to close the game out. Now it's an awkward place to have medevacs come out of because they have to, you know, jettison back over to where the Terran is. So this does actually slow down drops and pushes a little bit.
Yeah, this is an ambitious 4th base for SpeCial, by the way. He's going to try and get a planetary setup right there.
I think SpeCial still has a lot of the same plans in this game that he had in the other games, which is you still need to basically beat the Zerg before they get too big, and so I think he'd prefer to have a close expansion that can be used as a launching pad for attacks instead of a, oh, hold on, oh
yeah,
God.
But against Roach Ravager like this, I mean, you might be spreading yourself a little bit too thin, as Dark just absolutely overwhelming on both sides here. The third base and busting in, knocking on the door of the natural expansion. All these siege tanks getting cleaned up. The bios are on point.
Is that just game? I think it is, actually. Yeah, this is just too much. And clearly, you know, SpeCial unable to kind of, you know, do the same kind of crippling damage early on. In fact, quite the opposite. Dark not only ready to try to fight a push that would come out, but also ready to clobber a Terran before their push even starts.
I feel like SpeCial maybe needed to camp a little bit more on these 3 bases and, you know, just try to hold on, because Dark, especially when it comes to roaches and ravagers, this is a guy that does not mess around. He will just kill you if he gets the slightest chance. It's now a maxed supply Zerg to an 88 supply. Terran player, this planetary, not long for this world. I think SpeCial right now, just kind of digesting this loss a little bit, is...
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, you know, it's been one hell of a run. I'll tell you, this is a much closer and better best of 3 than I thought we were going to have to start this off. But ultimately, Dark proves why he is regarded as the better player, and he will move on to the winner's match. Of course, SpeCial's not knocked out. SpeCial has a moment to try to fight for his survival. That will be in our 4th best of 3. Sorry, our 4th best of 3 today.
Great series, though. I got to say, SpeCial really showed up, especially in Game 1. That was a fantastic match to watch, and, you know, I'm feeling good about his form. I think he might be able to get out of this group. We'll have to see. Dark advancing to the winner's match now, as good as ever.
Yeah, this was a cool series. I got a lot of great ideas here from SpeCial. He did that in the matchup. I think we kind of thought no matter what he was going to lose. The question is, how does he do in the other matchups? Time will tell. Up next, GuMiho versus Creator at TVP. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.